So we're here with Jonathan from the Edinburgh Watch Company, and the reason for this video is it turns out we have an anniversary, and we thought we'd come over and find out a little bit more about what it is you do. And well, we've done podcasts, so people have heard you, but they've not seen the watches, they've not seen you in person, so we thought we'd come along. And Rick's obviously hiding out of the way, just out of frame.
Just out of frame.
There you go.
Ooh.
There's the hands. And this is Jonathan Gilbert. So how are you doing, Jonathan? How are things going?
Very well, thank you for having me.
I'll wave at you from here.
So yeah, this is just a quick catch up, just to introduce our video section as well, because obviously we've done audio for a long time. We're up to nearly 90 episodes. I think we're at 90 episodes.
We are at 90, yes, we are. So, 100 is in sight.
It is. So we thought we'd have you on, 2 podcasts and our first video. So how have things been going recently with the Edinburgh Watch Company?
It's been great, thank you, and I say thank you very much for having me. 5 years old in September 2014, so it's absolutely flown by. From that first day I thought about, starting my own business, and it's been an incredible and a really exciting journey actually.
And on that first day, did you do a wrist check?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Come on,
but
show us
wrist
the
check
goods.
today. Yeah, I'm wearing my old favourite, which rarely comes off my wrist. I've got the Rolex Daytona Cosmograph, which is a watch that I've literally really fallen in love with. I love the Daytona as a model. I think its size, its feel, its fit, its history, and I was very fortunate to get this one about a year ago from one of our customers who decided to let it go to a new home, and it really is a daily. Having said that, I'm very fortunate with all these watches coming into the company. It gives me the chance occasionally to try the odd one or two on, and to mix it up a little bit. But literally within a couple of days, I'm kind of missing it, and it has to be back on again. So I'm very, very privileged to have such a lovely watch, and it's not mollycoddled. It has all sorts of daily wear and scratch on it, but it's used for its intended purpose.
Oh, timing motor racing events.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Good. So that is, how old is that? Is that 2018?
This is a 2018.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the white dial ceramic.
Yes,
Daytona.
it's one of the 2 variants. Again, Rolex following tradition, black or white dial in the stainless steel. This one I think came out around about 2016 as an enhancement to the regular Daytona. Fitted a ceramic bezel to it, and of course this one has what we call the panda dial. The black and the white, I've had the black one a few years ago. Again, a lovely watch, and you can almost toss a coin to decide which one you prefer. But no, it's a super looking watch. It really is.
I think the white probably is my favourite of the 2 of them, between the white and the black.
Make the man an offer.
Apparently it's not for sale, so it turns out that the only watch I want off of him isn't actually for sale, so that means that I get away from here today without having
my
bought
wife
anything.
has regularly said to me that I can't believe you haven't sold it yet, and and I've had many opportunities, but I think the people watching the video today who've had watches for a while, they will have developed that bond with a watch. Which I think when you're a watch dealer, you see so many watches coming through, you don't. And it's like a car, it's like that classic car you've had for a number of years. Having had it a year now, I really have, and it's just, it's such a nice piece. And the market's really, really strong for them. I mean, I'm seeing them now heading on to 26,000 in some of the big London websites.
Oh, it's nuts.
26,000. For a watch that costs £9,500. So it's incredible, really. And I think they're selling at that.
Yes, they are.
But I genuinely would not sell it for that because I know it's an awful lot of money.
So there you go, viewers. Your job is to test Jonathan's resolve.
So you can ask me later in the video.
Make him some money. Make him an offer. 30,000. See if he sells at that.
Now we're getting close.
You see, there's always a price.
Good. Well, I think there should be some housekeeping rules, because I forgot that we can't edit video like we can edit podcasts. So Rick,
Sharp.
no shuffling, right? And no saying and aha and yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Yes, boss.
Right, Rick, what are you wearing?
Guess what? Yay, Panerai. Although, interestingly, on the table today there is a watch. There is
one watch.
There's 16 watches, in fact. Well, there's no way we're going to get through them all. No. We'll give the camera a view of them, but there is one in particular that is just calling out to me as a kind of, I could replace the Panerai. And that is, have a guess which one it is.
I have no idea.
is that there's a Rolex James Cameron Deep Sea
really?
just shuffling over there. Pass it over.
Nice. Yeah, I would have got that wrong.
What would you have gone for?
I think as we were
Breguet,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, that gold
that
Breguet
was getting a lot of wrist time.
Yeah,
earlier on.
that's pretty cool as well, I have to say.
But I guess you're used to wearing a big watch.
In terms of a direct replacement, this Deep Sea. This is the James Cameron. This is
That's the one.
with the blue. This is the one you really like.
I like the newer one.
Is this not the newer one?
No, it's not. That interestingly,
I've managed to.
You broke it already?
Broke it already. The day if you break it, you buy it. Is that the rule?
I got that one last week actually, and it's I think it's one of the ones that a collector might like because I think there's a real. What would you have? Would you have the original James Cameron, the 116660, or would you want the new one, the 126660?
Yeah.
And then, apart from the wearability aspect of it, which one's the better investment? I'm not actually sure what the right answer is. I think perhaps the original one, because that's what it was all based upon. Or do you want the one with the new movement, the bigger power reserve? The slightly more comfortable bracelet, I don't think there's that much difference in it. Having said that, I haven't had much wrist time with that.
Almost perfectly sized for me.
It's and the bracelet, it's a one-way bracelet actually, it doesn't come off.
Yeah.
So
it sounds just like that Christopher word.
But they stole the idea.
They stole the idea. So that's very
this
nice.
particular watch had actually been in an AD's safe until late 2018.
Right.
And so it's in fact one of the last of the original James Cameron Deep Blues.
Is this an AD down south or up here?
It was an AD down south.
That's
yeah.
okay then.
And he let a customer with it. But yeah, it's a great looking watch. I think it's a real statement watch for Rolex.
Yeah.
I think the Deep Blue, the technology that's gone into that, the engineering that's gone into that, it's absolutely incredible. And I think when you look closely at the dial, seeing that color gradient changing from blue into black, it's a very handsome watch. It is a big watch.
This is the 4 kilometre one, pretty much.
Yep, 12,800 foot.
Yeah.
But there's so many parts of it. I think it just makes it quite something, and
it is lovely.
It's a good one. So that would be the one, would it?
I think
was that a narrow? Was it
of
a close
the
race
ones?
with the
I
Breguet?
mean, the Breguet, the Type 21 that you've got there, which is the gold and the leather.
Yeah, this one's a lovely watch actually.
Very nice. So we were going to talk all about, you being 5 years old as a company, but just go on with the watches. Just pass.
I'll pass that across to you actually.
Right, you can look at that, and I'll tell everybody I have got on, or just about to take off,
Oh, we forgot about you.
the Apollo 8. So it's my first ever Speedy, fully ceramic, sapphire, no real water resistance, but and it's on an interesting strap that you can't buy from Omega.
What a great place to start though, isn't it? We got one of those in 2 or 3 months ago. It lasted a whole day.
Really?
Yep.
And then it turned out it wasn't water resistant, and
then it came back. No, I think it's a lovely watch, and actually my customer who bought it, who's actually been a great customer and bought a few watches from us, he had concerns about it because of its size. But once he actually got it and put it on its wrist, it kind of shrunk, because with the strap you get such a lovely fit, and it's of course so light, and he absolutely loves it.
Well, they're supposed to be 44, 45 mil.
Yep.
Doesn't look like it. Not at all.
see, I could absolutely rock that Breguet, by the way.
You could.
That's not bad.
It's a good looking piece, isn't it?
To be fair, that and the deep, as a 2-watch collection, that wouldn't be too shabby, would it?
That's not too
A
bad.
gold Breguet flyback chronograph on a leather strap for when gold is just the only thing you need, and Rolex Deep Sea for when you're hacking about the farm.
I remember on our earlier podcast that we had the IWC Yacht Club, which is one that you like too. So you seem to have quite a love of rose gold and that sort of leather or rubber sort of watch, don't you?
Yes. Although, well, that's very nice.
Anyway,
Very nice indeed.
it's the point of the story. Tell us more about the company and what's been happening then. So it's 5 years,
Yes.
and you're into it how?
It all started. Well, my love of watches probably started back from when I was about 10. There was just something interesting about watches for me. I think it was a Timex where I started off. If you asked me what I did last week, I'd struggle to tell you. So going back that far, I think it would have been something like that progressed through my into my teens with Timexes and Secondas and Rotaries and Pulsars, and then going up to Seikos. There was definitely something there at a very young age that sort of had an interest in watches, until that day when I was about 23, when I went and bought my first Rolex. And I think, and I know how people feel now when they come to me talk about Rolex. I know what it means to them. It's that aspirational brand that as a company they've done so well, of course, with the millions of advertising, but it's been for many, many, many years for our parents, and it will just continue through generations. So there was something there for me in that, and that continued through my 20s and 30s and 40s. I went into the motor trade as a career. Like many guys, I had a real passion for cars, and started off with sports cars, and then I went to work for Volvo and Aston Martin and Saab and all sorts of wonderful brands. And then I went into a career in banking, where I was there for 18 years. But the company was formed, as I say, back in September 2014, as I was made redundant. I was a business partner in a large corporate bank, and my role came to an end. I, by that point, had a number of watches through the years. I'd got bored and bought another one, and built a fair amount of knowledge up, dealt with a lot of dealers, been to watch fairs, took an interest in them. And I guess I'd like to have done what I'm doing now 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But, when you've got a reasonable job and a lifestyle and a family, and it's a massive change to...
It's difficult to break out on your own.
It is. It's all about risk.
Anyone that's ever done it, I worked for the man for many years and then decided I could probably try and do it myself better or easier. It's not better, it's not easier, it's just you're your own control of your own destiny, and I think that's what made me enjoy what I'm doing. And obviously speaking to you over the last year or so, it's exactly the same story with you.
It's different.
You've got a passion for what you do now.
It's different. I mean, it's like everything. It's you get out of it what you put into it, and I feel very lucky in a way that I have been able to find a career. I mean, I've loved what I've done in the past. I wouldn't regret any of it. This is like a new chapter in a way. And I love the fact that I'm indulged with my passion for watches, but it's not just about the watches. For me, it's about the people. And it's why I built this business. When I sat down and I thought, I was 49 years old, massive change in my life. How do I do this? How do I want to do it? When I get up every day, what does that day look like? Do I want to go to a shop? No, I'm not knocking a shop. It's all about choice. It's about what those business owners who have shops want to do. For me, I didn't want to have a shop. I actually wanted a business that was much more around people, that would allow me, as I do every day, to sit with people one-to-one, where I'm not impacted by anything else, and we really get to understand what they're looking for, my business, our watches, and quite often the watches it just comes in an hour later because it's about that relationship, and it's very much that kind of boutique business that is what I do every day.
Well, we should actually explain that we're not, in fact, sitting in either your office or your home, and that the tower cranes that you may or may not be able to see out of this window behind you, I'm not sure if the camera will pick them out, because I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tower cranes out of that view. We are, in fact, sitting, we'll tell us, Jonathan, we're sitting with a view of the new luxury shopping facility that's being built in Edinburgh. But
just for you?
Just for you. What is the hotel that we're currently in, and what's your relationship to it?
Well, we're here in the penthouse suite at the Edinburgh Grand. And the interesting thing about this is that this building used to be Royal Bank of Scotland, which is who I used to work for. The Edinburgh Grand is a beautiful apartment hotel that's been completely, they spent millions refurbishing it. We're actually in the penthouse here, which is it's the most gorgeous 3-bedroom luxury apartment with a wonderful balcony where you can look over all of Edinburgh.
Can you remember whose office this used to be when it was the Royal?
No, I was far too junior to get there. But no, talking about through that window, that what actually is behind us is the new St James's Centre. So the old St James's Centre has been flattened, and they've completely started and built a new centre, so that's what's going on there.
Right.
From what I hear, we have some top jewellers who are going to be having new stores in there. So I think it's quite exciting, really. I think
it's an expensive jewellers?
Well, again, what I'm about to say, it's rumour. I mean,
Yes.
there's nothing I've seen in black and white that is confirmed it, but I think it's fair to say that we're probably going to see something from Watches of Switzerland group in there.
Yeah.
I would expect that as Watchfinder strategy starts to roll out across the UK, they might like to have a shop in there. And that's all I've sort of heard about, but I think, you know, we'll maybe see others too. So I mean, it's a multi-million-pound centre, and I think for someone wanting to have a place, this St Andrew's Square is very much where it's happening. We've got, you know, Harvey Nichols here, we've got Moultrie's Walk, and some wonderful, you've got the Ivy just literally across the road. So it's very much happening in this part of town, and I think this will be the centre point. You've got the new W Hotel there as well. But no, the Edinburgh Grand I was very kindly invited to be one of their business partners. So they've gone and selected 10, 15 local Edinburgh businesses that they felt there was a synergy with around the customer value, what they do, and I've invited to be a business partner. And this is one of the venues where I bring my clients to meet them. And again, it's a beautiful environment just to sit down and have a coffee, enjoy a chat, and look at the watches.
Well, let's have another look at something you've got here. Shall I just pick something at random?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
and by picking something at random, we mean pick the IWC engineer. If you can identify which one that is. Think steel blue sports watch.
No, I'm going to go for the James Bond.
Oh, yeah, good choice,
Spectre.
good choice. The Spectre.
Right. So this one here has got lint on it, and we don't have a cloth, so there you go, sorted. All good in the hood. So it comes on the NATO. This is Omega factory issue, and can you tell us a little bit about this watch?
Yeah, so when Spectre was launched, of course the Omega and Rolex relationship with the Bond franchise is absolutely huge, and Omega now for a number of years have had special edition collections come out, and in the year of the Spectre movie they brought two models out. This one on the sort of classic 300 meter Seamaster range, and then they also brought it based upon on the Aquaterra. So limited production, not that limited now. I think Omega have, like many others, have coined in on the any opportunity to
Rewritten the rule book.
absolutely.
Is what you would say.
But one of the two, this is certainly the most desirable one.
Uh-huh.
This one I think has been worn literally a couple of times. In fact, it also comes on a really nice metal bracelet, and that's actually never been worn. But it's a great looking watch.
So there's a metal bracelet with that as part of
it's
the
still in the package. And one thing I think is
Right,
lovely
cool.
about Omega is that when they do special edition watches, the boxes are absolutely awesome. I mean, the box is like this size,
Yeah.
and to get into it is a digital code.
Oh, right,
of course.
okay.
What's the numbers to get in? Any guesses?
Yeah, 7007 probably.
007. So that gets you into it, and you've got the watch, and you've got the spare bracelet. You've even got an Omega loop to go
Right,
into
okay.
it, and then the instructions. It's really quite special. A lovely thing to have as a gift, as I guess. But yeah, I think with the NATO on it, it's very, very cool, very light. It's got the glass back on it, and with a metal bracelet on it too. It's it's a good one, and we've sold a few through the years of these actually. They're
Yeah,
a nice
it's
piece.
You don't get to see it. You
I
keep
was gonna say,
shuffling your feet.
it's the last tastefully done Bond limited edition compared to the one that's
Yeah, the
come
new
out
one's just
recently
come
for
out,
the new one,
isn't it?
which is
Yeah.
just
It's the ADHD edition.
it is. There's just so many Bond references on it as to make it a bit too fanboyish for my liking. But that is actually really cool.
We have, I mean, the majority of what we do, I guess, is Rolex. You know, there's a
Yeah.
massive market for Rolex, and really within reason, I would buy as many of them as I could do. And you can automatically just jump for the sports collection, so likes of, you know, the Submariners, the Daytonas,
Yeah.
the Sky Dwellers, but the Datejusts have now become very popular. The Datejust 41s,
Was it the date just? You said you bought your first Rolex. What was it?
it was a Submariner.
Was it Submariner
Yeah,
first?
it was.
right?
It was actually just down on Princes Street here, which I heard you walk down earlier. It was a Rolex Submariner
Literally
date.
all of Princess Street. I walked in
Absolutely,
earlier.
you were slightly out of breath when you got here.
Parked at precisely the wrong end of it to get to this hotel.
No, it was a Rolex Submariner date, black dial,
Okay.
16610 I think it was then, and it was the princely sum of £800. In those days I was working with Volvo, and that was a lot of money.
Well, it's
then,
still a lot of
you
money.
know, and it was interest-free credit.
Right.
And £80 a month for 10 months.
Really?
I remember
Wow.
that day buying it. Literally, I had my nose up against the window for weeks before, and it was in the window, and I got it. And I probably walked into a number of lampposts as I was walking back down the street looking at that, and it was a great watch, and I wore it for about 8 years, but like we all do, we sometimes get a bit bored of something, so I don't know what took over me, but I was on, I think I was on George Street, and I think Watches of Switzerland or Mappin and Webb were there, and they had the Jaeger-LeCoultre franchise, and they had this beautiful brass Jaeger-LeCoultre clock. And by that time, I'd become all
carriage clock.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely. Okay. It's the one. It was the
Are you actually about to tell us that you're the only man on the planet to have traded in a Submariner for an Atmos JLC clock?
Absolutely. Well, I was growing up. I had a girlfriend. We were moving in together, and by that point, the Rolex hadn't been getting quite so much wear. And I saw it, and it was gorgeous. It was brass, and I think they had a very good salesman that explained.
He must have been a great salesman.
And anyhow, I traded it in, and I think it was almost a straight swap, and I bought that, and it is now. I use it. It's in my study, and it keeps terrible time. It's worth.
Is it water resistant?
It's. I hope so. But it's probably worth at best £800. But that. Rolex, which is what 30 plus years ago, would today be worth $6,500. And I think, do you know what? Yeah. That's the lovely thing about, we talk about so many watches. Everybody talks about, is it a good investment?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of dealers would say, of course it is. I don't. I'm very careful with that. I think I would say that if you're going to buy a stainless steel Rolex today at $6,500, a Submariner, for a gift, a long-term gift, then it probably is.
Yeah.
And certainly if you look at that 800 to 6,000 long-term, and even now, in fairness, with the scarcity of the stainless steel sports watches, for those that the flippers out there, shall we say,
Adrian.
Well,
we give them that's what we call them all. We'll call all flippers. We just.
In fact, I've even got.
It's like all autopilots and aircraft are called George. All flippers are called Adrian.
I have an Adrian here.
Oh, very good. Yeah. You have the full range. We put them all out.
Do you have a new Adrian?
I have an old Adrian and a new Adrian. But we have a pair. So that's
pair of Adrians.
Pair of Adrians. And
the collective noun for Adrians. In case anybody watching this has no idea what we're on about, you need to check out Adrian, who is the owner and user of the @BarkandJack channel on YouTube and is part of the Hotix network that we're all part of. So yeah, it's Adrian. He bought a Rolex and then had the misfortune to want to move house. So he rightly sold his Rolex to be able to afford to move house. But we've not let him live it down since.
Costs a lot to move to Scotland.
Exactly, from London.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Had some time with him last week at the Red Bar event, and
you mean the Scottish Watches event?
Of course, yes, of course, absolutely.
Featuring Red Bar.
Absolutely.
There was two of us there. There was only one float light.
Absolutely, but no, I think that's one of his favourite ones, isn't it? But yeah, they're lovely. I mean, these again.
Never actually tried one on.
They're
looks like I'm not going to get to try one on now.
Which one do you prefer out of the two? If you were going to
the Hulk.
The Hulk.
Just the way the green goes all the way through.
Yeah.
Would you? I'd go to Kermit. But that's
so some background.
I remember him originally.
So I think the Kermit came out in around 2003, when it was introduced as the 50th anniversary Submariner. That particular watch, I had one a couple of years ago, and they at that age would typically had the Fat 4 on the bezel insert, and so where the tip of the 4, if it's much wider, is known as the Fat 4, and these watches have absolutely gone through the roof, but they were only around 2003, 2004. This particular one is a Z serial 2006, but it's a really, really nice one. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think I prefer the older one, actually.
Do you?
I think I like the narrow case lugs on it, and I think the contrast of also the aluminium and the black one is quite nice. I had one actually a few months ago I sold, and it was a cracking one, and it came from a gentleman who'd been in the military, and he'd served around the world. So that watch had literally been in multiple wars and survived. And many of the countries he were in, like in Afghanistan, was obviously very, very hot, and the bezel had really faded down to a very, very pale shade of green. But it was in wonderful condition and with a history.
Yes.
And I remember telling a customer about it who was interested in buying it. I said, look, there's a bit of history I need to tell you about this watch. It has actually been around the world a bit, but you actually love the story, and it's part of his collection now. So very much, I think, a collector's watch.
So is there a law that says, I know if you sell a house and somebody's been murdered in it, you have to tell, the prospective buyer? If a watch has been in wars, do you legally have to tell them? Or is that just something you do as a matter of course?
I've not got it in my small print, right. But we always
best to check.
I think that's an interesting one actually, because all these watches you see here, I mean, my stock varies, but it sort of goes between about 30 and 60 watches. Every watch I have, I've personally bought. And
You
turned down quite a lot of watches.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I turned down probably about 7 out of 10
Turned down all of
watches.
mine. Tried to sell them that Swatch Fly Magic, he's having none of it.
You've got two of them to offload as well. Christmas is coming up.
I think it's like everything. You need to believe in what you do, and I think it comes by the fact that I'm not just a watch dealer. I'm an enthusiast, and therefore I look at a watch and I principally think, do I like it? Do I think my customers will like it? And I don't always get it right, and there are the odd few watches I've had where I've made the wrong decision, but in the majority of the time we get it right.
There's a Cellini there, yeah.
There is.
He's all right.
Let's not speak unkind to that. That is actually a really, really nice watch.
I do like the Moonface Cellini. That is the GMT.
Yeah.
I think you should actually be made to try this on.
Nope.
Because it is pretty classy.
It is a great looking watch. I wasn't a great fan of the original Cellinis,
Right.
but with this one, these came out about 2015, and they've gone up to a 39mm.
Yeah.
A lot of the older Cellinis were manual, of course. This one's automatic. It's got a nice power reserve, and as you're saying, it's
It's only Rolex with an exhibition case back, isn't it?
no,
that's
it hasn't. No, this
the
is solid
only
gold.
one with
Actually,
an
this one.
exhibition case back is the Prince. I think one of the Princes has got an exhibition case back, which they now don't do.
The rectangular
ones.
Yeah. No, I think this is something.
But
that
to be fair, that should have had an exhibition case back on it.
It's beautiful. It's very comfortable to wear. I have to admit, I borrowed it for the weekend and wore it to a wedding. Went great with a pair of tartan trews. And I think it's a great looking watch. Now that is an example of, pre-owned. So we've got the Rolexes, of course, all the sports ones that are achieving way over the list. But likes of the Breguets, the IWCs we've got here, why buy pre-owned versus new? Well, that watch, I think you'd agree, looking at it, is absolutely like a new watch. I mean, I think it's been worn once by the customer and once by me, but in essence, it's perfect.
I mean, it's got the original Rolex strap on it, which is marked as genuine alligator with the Rolex badge on it. It's hardly bent, so yeah, that's curved.
And now it's about to be worn for its third time.
Third time.
But no, I mean, these are 15,000 new. And off the top of my head, I've got that for about 11,250. So I think it's a lot. I think it's a good price for a watch of that caliber. And again, that is something that, again, the leather watch market is not so, that dress watch market now is not so popular. And a lot of the ones that we're offered are more 34, 35, 36 because they were watches from many years ago when that was the default size a gentleman's wearing. But now at 39mm, then that's going to be a similar size to a sports watch like Submariner's at 40. So I think it's much more popular. I think traditionally for a gentleman, but it's a nice dress watch.
I mean, they're still difficult to get hold of, Cellinis, of this variety. You'll not see them many places for new, but this is the one that's got a day-night indicator on it. Which is
has,
cool.
it changes.
The movement
back to
in this
white.
is actually very satisfying in terms of the GMT function, because the GMT function is the small sub-dial. So actually when you turn it so that all the hands turn at the same time, it's actually quite satisfying. So there you go.
Do you know I need more customers like you? You're kind of selling yourself the watch there because
He sold himself every watch that was bought.
That's
So
true,
far.
yeah. I'll buy
You're
them all.
leaving here
That's
with 13 watches.
solves the problem.
Cool.
Yeah, you say that I'm leaving with 13 watches because there's one watch that's in the box which is actually your own.
We'll get to that later.
Will we?
Later.
Because it's a
So,
Rolex as well.
You've married your passion with watches. with getting involved with motorsport. Now, you told me previous to this recording that you used to do a little bit of competition work with motor racing and things back in the day, but now you're helping young drivers as well when they need, I don't know, set of tyres or something. If they're maybe competing at Knockhill, you've managed to help a few people along the way. So do you want to explain a little bit about your passion?
Well, it goes back to, I think, the 1980s, which is making me sound really old. My father used to race. Years ago, used to race. So I think there was something there, and his interest in cars and mine. And I bought an ex-Ford Fiesta Challenge car, and I used to race it when we had the Ingliston race circuit, which is where the Royal Highland Showground is, and also at Knockhill and the odd race across an island. So I competed in the Scottish Motor Racing Championship then, and it was really good fun. But it was, I didn't have a big budget, so getting some sort of financial support from local companies all helped. And I never went out to try and get the big check. It was all about getting a little bit from here and there. And I've maintained that interest through years. I used to ride a motorbike as well, as you'll know, and so I've stopped that now, but cars are still very much a passion. And up at Knockhill Race Circuit, we've got the Mini Championship, we had Porsche racing up there, and the British Touring Cars, and these are all guys I've got to know through the years, and who come to me and said, look, can we be involved with you? And I have made a small donation to them. And again, it's back to that point I made earlier about every little bit helps, and even if it's a set of tyres. But I just want to put something back into the sport again, and I really encourage small businesses to do that. It's not something you're going to get a lot back out of necessarily, but you're playing a part in it, and that's what I quite enjoy. And what's more, with this sort of the social media footprint that we've got now with Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, etc., there's quite a lot of marketing we can do as well. And I think often watches, I remember one of my drivers racing in Formula 4 had a number of sponsors. He said, but all that everybody talks about is Edinburgh Watch Company, because it's a very topical point. And I think that can sometimes be a catalyst to help them getting more sponsors. So I love doing it. I'm also the timing partner for the Scottish Motor Racing Club, and we're involved as a sponsor up at Knockhill. So
is that what the Daytona is used for?
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
You lend it to them every weekend.
Absolutely. But no, it's good fun. I enjoy being involved in it, and I was actually,
Well, did you not tell me there was somebody came to you recently who was looking for a set of tyres basically for the weekend, and you helped him out with a few £100 just to help him through the competition?
I did actually. It was Aidan Moffat, who is racing in the British Touring Car Championship this year, and he said, look, we're going to be coming up to the Scottish round, would you like to get involved? And Aidan's a really good guy. He's done very, very well. He had a win last year. He was racing in the Infiniti Q50, and just a really nice guy. And let's face it, I think when you're making decisions about sponsorship, it's very much about the people. It's not just about the money. And he came to me, gave me the opportunity, and that actual weekend, he had the ITV camera in car that were filming him. And so we had a chat, and we came up with a proposal for him that worked, and I agreed what I would do. We came to an interview with him, and he put the Edinburgh Watch Company advertising across his helmet, and it looked the absolute business. And for a bit of luck, I gave Aidan a Batman to wear, which I think brought him some luck. But again, it was the right thing to do. I think he really appreciated it, and I think it's very, very hard to get sponsorship. I think.
Well, the thing is, when people think sponsorship for motor racing, I know a lot of people. Floatlight, the first time I met him, way back 15 years ago, he was rallying around in Saxos, and he was telling me the cost back then per year, and you could think it would be like you'd be sponsoring somebody 10 grand, 20 grand, but I mean, a set of tyres for the weekend, 300, 400 quid, and every little helps.
It does. I mean, the championship that Aidan's racing in is about £400,000 a year. It's big money. But I also sponsored Ollie, who was racing in the Mini Championship, who won this year. And again, we gave him some support there as well. We also we sponsored Christy Doran a couple of seasons ago, who was.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Christy was a fan. She's a great example of. Approaching a company with a good idea, and Seb Mulrose was racing at the same time. So we did something together for them. So again, it was a Scottish company supporting Scottish young talent, And it was great fun to be involved with.
Yeah, and you went across to the ring quite recently as well?
I did actually, yeah. Destination Nürburgring is one of the sort of leading track day companies operating across the Nürburgring. It's known as the Green Hell. It's around 13 miles of absolute heaven in the German mountains, and I entered into a sort of partnership with Destination Nürburgring this year that's, getting the Edinburgh Watch Company brand in and amongst Darren's customers there, which is actually quite a global reach there. So we did an event in May where I had about 130 cars turning up, and I was back out there in October.
I gave you an idea for a video and you didn't do it.
You did.
That was a very good idea.
Absolutely. I know about getting a Daytona and timing
making
things.
you a hood ornament on one of the cars, was it?
No, it wasn't that one. I basically wanted them to take you out there and leave you and then come back. Now, my idea was, you're going to the ring, one of the most famous motorsport.
You sure you want to give this idea away?
Yeah. Someone else can do it, it's fine. So, and I told you, take your Daytona, take a Monaco, and take a Speedmaster.
Yeah.
And then see which of the three watches is ideally suited to time lapse. And you
And
were
an
too busy and you
iPhone.
forgot.
And I think it was a great idea. Listen, I'm 55, I just genuinely forgot. But you know what? The nice thing about it is...
Why don't we do it next year?
We'll keep that.
We'll keep that for summer
There's
next
something coming along next year that I think we can take out there, and maybe you could be a passenger. And you could, in fact, you could be holding those watches.
Well, I think you need to
test
do
them.
it, and you need to see you need to compare it to Adrian's iWatch or Apple Watch, whatever it's called, and see which is actually most accurate. Because it's the one thing that people don't speak about is actually how accurate chronographs are. We speak about the plus and minus of the watch, but if a watch is plus or minus 4 seconds a day or -3 or whatever, there's also a percentage of that, I assume, applies to the way the chronograph mechanism works. So presumably some chronograph mechanisms run fast and some of them run slow. And if you're racing for, because I think to go around the Nürburgring, is it not like 20 minutes or something if you're going at a reasonable pace?
No.
I think you'd be in your Lamborghini track.
Oh, is that right?
Pace. Absolutely.
How long does it take to go around the Nürburgring?
4 and a bit minutes.
Oh no, I thought it was longer
I went
than that.
round as a passenger in a GT2 RS
Right.
in 7 minutes and 7
Right.
seconds, and that
Yeah.
really was pedaling.
So 11 minutes for the average punter in
Yes.
Depends
Sierra.
if you're in
a Sierra. Where did I get that from?
Sierra. Wow, going back to the 80s, aren't we? There was not Porsche had some kind of special edition thing that they took out, and they got high 4s recently.
I think it's 6s. I think
Was it 6s?
the cars that
The electric car.
the Volkswagen were there recently with an electric powered car, and they're down in the 6s. I don't think anybody's got below 6 yet. But that's, I mean, it's sensational. But no, I think the Nürburgring was, again, when you have your own business, it's about trying new things, and that's just something I wanted to explore. I think a lot of my.
Jonathan, you're with friends. You just wanted to go and have fun.
You don't need to justify it. You don't need to justify it as a
I'm
tax
not your
write-off to
accountant.
us.
No, my wife said, "Oh, you're off on a jolly." I said, "No, genuinely, it is work." But do you know what? It's actually
Mrs.
quite nice.
Gilbert, it was a jolly.
Because I actually with both trips, I've got 2 sons, and I took one out on each trip, and it was really good just for them to get involved, and I think also just to see them how a business works out there and how we engage with people, and as you know, I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't really do everything myself, and having that hands to set the stand up, etc. I know it's really good. I very much enjoyed it, but it's one of these things. I think when trying to be entrepreneurial about things, you're trying new things. Now, not everything works. I mean, last year I did 29 events, which was really, really busy calendar.
Yeah.
And some of these things worked and some didn't. And now this year I've done about 7 or 8. And you're sort of cherry picking. So like the Royal Highland Show, based at, again, where I used to race at Ingliston. I mean, there's 140,000 visitors come.
Does that include the sheep?
Yes.
It does.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
For our Aberdeen listeners.
Sheep are big watch buyers, let me tell you.
Indeed.
Nicholas is using them for his new watch straps.
That sounds quite a woolly story, but no, it's the Highland Show was great. It was really good, and we were there for 4 days and spoke to probably around about 500 people.
Although 50 of those were me.
That's right.
Going round and round and round in circles.
And I think what's nice about that is, with the social media footprint that we have out there, we have a lot of people who have never met us before can actually come up and see us on the stand. They can try watches on, and we can leave hopefully a good impression with them. And that really comes, the show itself, we sold a lot of watches, but also, in time to come. So it's a good thing to do. And we've done the boat show before. We've done stuff in motorsport.
Well, I saw you before I was into watches, before I had any clue at all. Not before you say anything. Not as if I knew
about 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago, it was Ignition at Glasgow's SEC.
Yeah, that was great.
And I just came over because your stand, it's always been very well presented, even to someone that has no clue about Rolex or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just came over and I spoke to you briefly, and you had a couple of blonde girls on your stand as well. I think that's maybe why I came over. Don't know, maybe. And
evidence would seem to suggest that is the case.
Evidence would seem to predict that would be the case. Not anymore. So saw you there, and then it was Porsche in the Glen.
Yeah.
Which is like the biggest free get together of Porsches in Scotland, perhaps the UK, run by Brian, or used to be. And again, it wasn't yourself, you were busy with somebody, but it was somebody you were working with. And it was dead easy, Rosie. It wasn't pushy salesman tactics or anything like that. And I get a good feel for exactly what you guys were doing. But you did a show down south recently with Paul Thorpe. How did that go for you?
I did, yeah. The Brighton Watch Show.
Yeah.
Can I just say before we start, my wrist is feeling particularly naked.
Okay, let's sort that then.
Right, shall I pick something for you?
Yeah.
Grandpa?
And like I say, the steel blue sports
Right,
watch.
close your eyes.
Okay,
Close your eyes.
Don't you dare hand me that Bulgari. You're going to hand me that Bulgari. You bandit. Okay.
Right, so Rick, this is a beautiful Bulgari, mother
Beautiful
of pearl,
two-tone, mother
with,
of...
rose gold,
Yeah.
accenting.
Suits you, sir.
Suits you, sir.
No, to be fair, let's have a look.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice.
It is obviously a ladies' watch.
Something I got offered that watch, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and I sort of almost automatically went, no thank you, because I thought, Bulgari, is that me, is that what I want? And then I looked at it and I thought, do you know what, that's a really good watch. And
How much is that?
I think it's about 8,000 new, and I think I've got it for 5,250 roughly.
Right.
And I thought to myself, beautiful looking watch. It's 202018, so it's barely a year old.
Okay.
There you go. You
God,
can use that
that's
picture
scary.
against
It
me. You
fits
can use that
perfectly.
picture against me.
Tremendous.
But I thought, what a great looking watch.
To be fair, it wears, like, if I was in the 1940s, that'd be about the right kind of size, because that's the sort of size that all the men's watches wear. It is actually, it's
But
a
it's,
watch.
it's solid, steel and solid gold, and it's got that iconic Bulgari look to it.
Yeah, mother of pearl.
As I say, being so
proper
new and
Bulgari,
the lovely saving off it.
It's an invisible clasp.
It's not going to sell as fast as a Rolex,
No.
but kind of undervalued. So it's a very prominent brand, and it's again, it comes back down to choice. Try to have.
Well, they're back. That's the thing. The last couple of years, like the Octo Finissimo range and things like that, they are back. And they're constantly winning records for the thin movements, and they're getting press coverage. So that's going to trickle down.
Yeah. Right, before you talk about Paul Thorpe's Brighton watch, pass me something proper to wear.
Okay.
The IWC engineer, because of there has been a recent flurry of activity in the steel sports blue-faced watches, and this actually is...
The way we've actually got the studio lights set up, it's catching on the dial really, really nicely.
Well, this is the new style engineer. Previously, they were about 45 mil, so they've come down now to about, I think that's 42, 43.
Is this new?
Yeah, it's unworn. Yeah, it's.
Don't put it on, Rick.
It's a great looking watch, and if you look at also the way the clasp,
I'm about to take 500
if
quid
you
off
press
this
the
watch.
button in the centre of the clasp, it allows the strap to move in and out. So it's really quite well designed. Automatic
that.
chronograph, and it's a nice wine. But no, the Brighton Watch Show is again.
Well, how much is this? Sorry.
Oh, 650 list, I think. We've got quite a nice saving off that one too. Again, it's unworn, and
No, I'm going to keep looking at that.
IWC is. I remember doing an article for the Glasgow Herald. They wrote to me and they said, "Look, we want you to write an article and tell us about what watch should a man wear in business, what watch should a lady wear in business," and IWC came very prominently because I think now in business, what we hear about unconscious bias, that impression that someone has of you, how you're dressed, what you wear, all sorts of things. And I think there are times when you don't want to be seen with something too flashy.
Yeah.
And I think IWC is a wonderful brand, beautifully made, fabulous history, and it's quite cool on the wrist. It's quite understated. And the one I actually wrote about was the 7 days, which was, on the white dial, the blued hands, blue alligator strap, and it was an absolute cracker. And I think the engineers, they've done well with that.
Yeah, I did. I used to really like the older style engineer case, the kind of Gerald Genta-esque throwback. The new one is very nice as well, and as you say, the sort of glide lock type is powered by pushing the IWC logo on the back of the clasp.
Well,
That's very
Hold it out. Let everyone see.
if you compare it to a
And then
Daytona,
there's a wee
it's
button in the back there.
£3,000 less, isn't it,
Yeah.
than a
Yeah, it's
Daytona?
automatic. It's got a legible chronograph on it. It's got a date on it. It is 120 meters water resistant. So although it's not got a bezel as such, although it has got a tachymeter scale inboard, in comparison to Daytona, well, at least you can get one of these. No, that's pretty cool. That's cool. I like that. I'm going to wear this for the rest of you talking about
Remember to get it back at the end.
Brighton, we're going to talk about Brighton, aren't we?
Brighton, yes.
Yeah, Paul thought, Paul decided he wanted to start a watch show. And so back in August 2019, and by October the show was actually up and running. So I like the thought of it. I thought, well, it's a good way of getting a Scottish brand down there.
Yeah.
So I went down there, set up, took a colleague, Scott, down with me, and I had good fun actually. It was about a 475-mile trip, and we got down there about 8.5 hours. We got set up, and I think there's about 700 people there, about 26 dealers on site. It was just over 1 day, and I think the general impression of it's really good. I certainly enjoyed it. We got to see some customers who hadn't met us before. We sold some watches, and it was safe and secure, and I think it's worthwhile. And I think good effort for one guy doing it. And of course, that probably leads on to the London Watch Show, which is another big show.
No, it's next April, you were saying.
Yeah,
Right.
it is
Yeah,
next-
just been
next
announced.
April. And of course, you've just been to a show yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I was down at the Watch It Fair, which is an independent microbrand show that was put together quite quickly. Again, there was a number of independent brands, watchmakers. It was something different. I've been to Basel a few times, SIHH, lots of open days and events, and this was just another area of the art of horology. That was a guy that was there, but the whole hobby, the enthusiast scene. And I've said many times in the podcast and on Instagram as well, it's not the amount of money you spend on a watch, it's the fun it gives you. And these guys, they've got some very unique designs because they're not under the influence of the market departments and shareholders. So there's lots of different types of brands that were out there, different looks and feels to the watches, and it was good to do that. And then on the way back, I stopped off because CW Sellers were having their winter festival. I dropped in and saw a few brands there, but it's good to see little watch events start to pop up. There might even be something in Scotland next year, who knows?
I hope so.
We can talk about that some other time.
But I think we also talked about we're going to go back across to Basel next year, aren't we? Because you went
Yes.
there last year. I've been there a couple of times. I see that Seiko have pulled out now.
Their stand was crap anyway, so I don't care about that.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
Tell it like it is.
Citizen had a far better stand,
Yeah.
just along from Seiko. I mean, this year, 2019, when we're recording this, it was Seiko's big year. 50th anniversary, the Astron, chronographs, all kinds of stuff, and their stand was pretty mediocre. And along you had Citizen, who I would say is probably in the eyes of the public a lesser brand. They spent more money and it looked better, so I don't really care.
I think the thing there is principally designed as a fair to allow dealers to go and order their new stock from the manufacturers.
Historically, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and of course the public are obviously a big revenue to go and see it. But apart from some of the more extreme brands, you can't touch them, you can just see them through the window. Some of the really fancy brands, you can actually go and meet the chief executive and see and try them on. I think that's what was quite nice about the Brighton Watch Show, is the fact that, there were hundreds of watches there. There's £1 million of watches there that the public, for £20 or whatever, could come in and see and try on. And I guess the same with the London Watch Show that's coming up, the one that you went to, and maybe the Scottish one that will follow. So I think there's such a buzz now about watches, and I think, hats off to the two of you for, coming up with this great idea, generating something in Scotland now that has got, you talked earlier, you're exceeding 90 podcasts, and listen, I've never listened to a podcast in my life until I heard yours.
Start at the bottom, you can only go up.
That's the way, absolutely. But no, that's something I think to those of you who are watching this that aren't watching it through Scottish Watches, I really would encourage you to go and check it out, because they're all, say, 90 videos, very varied. I think it's great. If you're traveling, you just plug your earphones in, you can listen. If you've got a long car journey, they're really, really good. But I think the community that you've created, and of course you're not just doing it single-handedly, you're doing it with, of course, some events with Red Bar, which is great. And again, Red Bar is huge and global. And the fact also that the event I was with you recently with Tudor, which is, you've got manufacturers, you had Grand Seiko, you've got one coming up, Red Bar's got one coming up, I think, next week.
Yes, they do.
Moritz Grossman.
Morris Grossman, and Mont Blanc, of course, recently as well. So what's lovely about these events is that there's no snobbery, really. It doesn't really matter whether you're wearing a Tissot, a Timex, a Rolex, a Rado. Bring along what you've got. You're there actually because of the interest in watches, and it's a very, very social thing as well. And I think that's, I come along to these events not really as Edinburgh Watch Company, just because I love watches and I'm there, and we get the chance to meet people, and it's good fun, and to be welcomed there, I think it's nice as well. So I think that's quite exciting, really. And I know you've got some great things coming up in the future. I think as you. Well, here we are. I think here we are today. We're doing something new. I think the whole scene on video with YouTube and everything's been very good. And it's something, on the sort of topic of YouTube, for me as a business has been very powerful, because as I mentioned earlier, I built a business without a shop, and so how do I get Edinburgh Watch Company out in the hearts and minds of people? Well, so many people are on their phones these days. So is it on Instagram? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Twitter? Is it on their website? But
on Twitter.
Not on Twitter.
No, it's not on Twitter.
But YouTube, we have, as I say, probably 1.5 million hits on these videos now. And I started off with this idea. It's all about, I think, trust. When you're down in London and you've gone onto eBay or onto a website, you may never have heard of Edinburgh Watch Company. And the watch you're looking at is £10,000.
Yeah.
I'm not Goldsmiths. I don't have that massive name. Why would they want to spend £10,000 with me? So I came up with the idea, well, why don't I shoot a personalised watch review of that actual watch and then pop that up onto YouTube?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the watch, showing the box and papers, talking about its history, its condition, some of the features and benefits of the watch. And these are sort of 6, 7, 8 minutes. They tend to be longer if I know lots about and really enjoy the watch.
Yeah.
But they're very, very powerful. And I think when someone watches the video, that gets a little bit of an insight into the business. They can then go on the website and see the pictures and, of course, the reviews and things like that. And it all really, really helps. And by the time they picked up the phone to me, I think they feel they almost know me. So that's worked quite well, and something I'm not a YouTuber
Yet.
We'll
get you there.
Do you know what? It's good fun though. I think it's good fun, and you've got Adrian doing his thing, and you've got Paul. You never know. I don't want to be slave to YouTube, but I think there's definitely opportunities to do a little bit more watch chat at least.
Good. Well, let's look at another piece on the table here. So the next watch I'm going to grab is this little guy down here, which is a little bit different from what you're known for, because you don't usually go with vintage. Is this one of your own personal pieces, or is this one that's for sale?
Yeah, I do that. It's actually, I got that from a chum of mine. He'd had that in a safety deposit box for about 12 years.
Really?
And he had with it a Coke, but it was a stick dial Coke. And I bought those two watches, and I've had, my children will probably hear this at some point, but before I started the company, I had a Pepsi 16710, and I had a Sea Dweller, the 16600. And I thought, well, I'll wear these watches for a number of years, and one day I'll give them to my boys.
Then you sold one.
And I sold both.
So, both watches or both boys?
I sold, no, I can't say sadly I've still got the boys, but lovingly still got them both. But no, I had the 16710, which is, stopped around about 2007-ish, when the new GMT came out. But no, when I started the business, I think I had about 6 watches, and the banker gave me some money to go away and put that into the business. And I had some chums that said, look, here's some of our watches. And then that was at the sort of time, when the euro was in quite a good place and you could be, buying unworn Rolexes from abroad. So I started a bit of that. So I had a bit of everything, really. But my website was still quite light, and as I was starting to push it a wee bit, I thought I needed a few more watches. So I put the Pepsi and I put the Sea Dweller on it. And one chap bought a Submariner one day. He said, "I see you've got the Pepsi, would you sell it?" And I hummed and I hawed and I hummed and I thought, well, I suppose I can get another one. So it sold. Anyhow, it's gone, but replaced with this absolute beauty. And this is a 1985 16750.
Right.
And you are seeing it exactly how I got it.
It is
it's
lovely.
an absolutely gorgeous condition. It's developed a lovely patina on the dial there.
Patina, not damage.
No.
This is actual patina.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, lovely colour, and I got it, and because it hadn't been worn for a long time, I treated it to a service, but only the movement. So I didn't touch the case nor the bracelet. It's completely original. It has all the original books and papers, and I just love it. And so that was one I got, and I just thought, no, I've got to keep that one. And that's when this comes off. That occasionally goes on, for a couple of days. But the other one I got recently too was, on the theme of the GMT was this one here, and this is one of the original GMT bimetals. It's the 16713, absolutely gorgeous looking watch. And of course, this one was replaced by the 16713 when they introduced the ceramic back in 2007. But this one again is lovely. And when I looked at this watch and I looked at the papers on it, it was dated 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was really quite a memorable year for me because I actually broke my back when I fell off my motorbike, and so I looked at that and I just thought, I think I'll just keep that as a positive memory. The fact that I'm still here, and so I said
That's
to
the way to look at it.
Absolutely.
It's the day that you continue to live.
it is absolutely.
But does that mean that every time you want to buy a watch for yourself, you have to negate a body part of some description? That
Well,
seems a bit extreme.
Something like that.
Next up, left
Well,
kidney.
No, I got absolutely. So I bought it and I got it serviced and I thought I'm going to keep it, and I went through the kitchen that night and I showed my wife and I said, look, I think I'm going to keep this one because it's quite a memorable year. She said, no, I don't like that.
So you kept it.
Well, I've currently got it. I haven't advertised it.
It's just
yet,
difficult to
but-
sell,
But do
that's
you know
what
what?
it
She did the same thing with me with the Rolex Deep Sea years ago.
Okay.
I had it on my wrist and I came home with this massive chunky watch on my wrist and I was proud as punch wearing it. She said, that looks stupid on you. It's far too thick on your wrist. And so I did sell it, but I don't know. I think that, anyhow, it's gorgeous. Isn't
I like it.
Look at the condition of that. I mean,
I
it's
think
a
it suits
really,
you as well.
it's a really original watch, so maybe it is a keeper. But it's great, and I think it's got a sort of modern yet vintage feel to it. Again, a narrow case lugs bracelet that's got the gold all the way through the back of it, and it's just a really lovely watch.
This brings back a little memory because the first luxury piece that I ever bought was a 99 GMT Master 2. It wasn't the bimetal, it was just the steel. Unfortunately that watch went back, but fortunately because it went back, that's how Scottish watches came to be.
Really?
It's a story I've told many times. The short version is, bought a watch that was crap.
Yeah.
If I'd bought the watch and it was fine, I would have put it on my wrist, thought nothing of it. Because it didn't work properly, I started researching, why is it not working? What could be wrong with it? No, I can't hold this just now. And from there got interested in mechanical watches and went to Basel and then did this and did that, and here we are doing an interview with yourself. So it's interesting how things
That's nice.
move along. I like that one.
That is very nice, actually. Is there a bluesy there as well?
Yeah, there is.
Let's have a look at, quick look at the bluesy.
This is it.
Because I'm curious now. I have never actually tried on. I've certainly not tried on all of these Rolex models
This is a
in
great
one
watch. This
sitting.
is,
And I am tempted to say that although I started off thinking that the Deep Sea was, if I was going to get such thing, was going to be this two-tone is actually quite nice. And I
think-
wonder if the only one that might shine a light
This
on
is
it might be the
lovely.
bluesy.
This-
Two-tone's coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
Without doubt. The stainless steel market with massive wait list, huge premiums over list. I mean, roughly, I don't know, 2018 Submariner date is ballpark on the pre-owned market now, £9,000 to £10,000, roughly,
Yeah.
for a watch that costs £6,500.
What year's this?
2016.
Okay.
As you can see how we present them. They're
It's-
absolutely as new.
It is as new,
Yeah.
and it's got the little. I don't know if you can hear it.
The Rolex squeak.
It's got the Rolex squeak, which shows the tolerances are so tight that the metal actually squeak.
To be fair, that watch had hardly been worn,
No.
you know. But no, that market now, that watch today is about 10,350. I think we've got a pending Rolex price rise, but that's the rumour mill on that one. That one we've got about 10,995, which is just marginally over list. But you know,
but they're waitlisted now anyway.
They are, absolutely, yeah. And you know, for only a little bit more than what you're paying for a steel one, you've got precious metal. And that dial, honestly, see it outside, that Samba. When they first came out in 2010, they had a flat blue dial, which was the same dial that you get on the white gold Submariner.
On the Smurf.
Yeah, same one. But I think it looks okay on that, but it wasn't very popular on this. And I think Rolex listened to their customers and they said, look, we want the blue dial that was on the old model, and they brought this out with the Sunburst dial. I remember I got one in 2014, but they're about 7,000 back then. You know, you can buy them sort of pre-owned for that, but now they're very popular, especially in the summer. But it's just a great looking watch. It's a watch you can wear for anything, really.
Well, listen, thank you very much for your time and inviting us over to Edinburgh yet again through all the roadworks. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, and you've shown off some amazing watches. And I think the difference compared to the podcast is people can see what we're talking about. They can see the range, and they can see it's not just sports Rolex, because that's what you predominantly do. People might think that's all you do, and it's definitely not.
But no, listen, from my point of view, it's been lovely to talk to you both. I also thank you, actually, because you know, you've helped me as Scottish Watches in helping me get my brand out there. But I think, as you said earlier, in letting people, whether now on video or whether it's been by audio or what you've written on the website, getting an understanding, a behind-the-scenes view, and looking at Edinburgh Watch Company and what we are about, the fact we're not a big corporate, we are a very small and personal business, and it's great fun just to be involved with what you're doing and your success and growing. And I thank you. It's made a difference to me, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, what's ahead. So perfect. A big thank you for me.
No problem at all.
And to you across there. Thank you.
Rick says thanks as well.
Okay.
Well, that's great. Thanks a lot for tuning in and watching this, our first sort of, I don't know, interview, would you say?
We should think of a name. I mean, we're talking
about what
and this is about watches. So should we really call it Scottish Watches? Watches talking?
Watches talking.
Talking watches, Scottish talking watches?
We'll figure it out.
We'll think of something.
Well, you'll see in the title slide. So thanks very much, Jonathan. If
Pleasure.
people want to check out what you do, where you're at, what you've got, where can they look?
I think the best place is to go onto our website, which is edinburghwatchcompany.co.uk. But if you want to go on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, we're there too. So we're there for everyone. But you know what? When you call Edinburgh Watch Company, if there's something you're interested in, you pick up the phone, you'll get me. And I would love the opportunity to have a chat with anyone in your community, how we can help them. That's what we're there to do.
Superb.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. If you want to check out more of our stuff, scottishwatches.co.uk. We've also got an Instagram account. And if you like this video, like it, leave a comment and subscribe. So until next time.
Goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from them.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.